We're talking about human capital development. That's basically what we're talking about. And if we define human capital as the stock of knowledge and of our wellness and of our behavior or attitudes, that you need to use or employ, to produce goods and services at a high rate of productivity, then, we're talking the word stock. Okay, so the stock of knowledge. That means it's not just that of the leadership, but that of the totality of the population if we want to be competitive. So how should we redo our behavior? How do we sensitize our people to understand that there are some things that they have to do, that they have to build a culture that says, I need to know more, I need to be highly skilled, and I need to have the behavior that will allow me to be able to do the best that I can do in an age like this. So talking to the ordinary person out there, what's the kind of message that people need to have? So we're not just leaving it at the door of the leadership, but also involving the stock, the whole population. So what kind of approach do we use in that regard? Or how do you see that?
To start about, is the whole population we're talking about. And then without the government, we really can't do it. If it's the word of mouth, if I talk to maybe I know I'm exposed, I talk to 2 people around me, those 2 people might not know to talk to the next people to them. But we have to put these things in our schools. It has to be included in our school curriculum so that people will know, like from a lot of people here don't really know that their behavior or their attitude is not right. They don't know. Nobody has talked to them, except if you meet someone who talks to you and you know that your attitude is wrong, and then your attitude or your behavior is not globally competitive. Except you hear it from somewhere, you won't know. So I think our government needs to still play a part in it. It has to be included in school. They have to talk to people about it. Like if our leaders, if you come up and then in your office, you are exposed to, a minister is exposed to a lot of people. If he can have meetings with them, maybe once in a week for an hour or 30 minutes, talk to people, expose people, reskill people. We need to do that reskilling. We need to put it into our system. Like our government has to reskill a lot of people, our workers, our citizens, and everybody. I think everybody needs to be reskilled in that area. So it's not about the people, because they don't know. They really don't know. People are not exposed to these things. How many people have access to television to see what's happening around the world, to even know that this is how people behave, or this is how it's done in another part of the world?
So Peculiar, in light of that, and in light of the fact that we're talking about this, this fusion of technology with digital technology, physical technology, biotechnology, all these things working together, can illiterates really be performing in that kind of arena? That is a question for Africa. So that means we need to save our resources. We need to be more efficient and have resources that we can use to provide more education for our people. How do you think that we can do that? So that don't you think that we need more people to come out with university degrees? Because it's not enough just to be literate, to just have a high school diploma, but we need people who are sophisticated enough to be able to use the technologies of today to understand them. What do you think that we need to do in Africa to achieve that?
Okay, so according to an article on the World Economic Forum, it suggested that, and I completely agree with that the education system in Africa as a whole needs to be overhauled, like out with the old, in with the new, And for countries like Egypt, they're already doing something about it. I hear they have over 2,500 schools that they provided with, high-speed internet. Because now we're talking about these things, and like you said, illiterates, they barely even know what is going on in the world, not to talk of, buying into technology. So we need to get education to the lowest of the low in the society so that they're able to do this thing. And I think one of the ways we can do that, like you talked about resources, I think the budget for education needs to be higher than it is. Compared to a whole lot of other things. When we were growing up, they used to say education is the key, to success and things like that. So how can you say education is the key and you're not funding education enough? It means you're not thinking about the future. Okay, so I think that the budget for education for countries in Africa needs to really increase, and then there needs to be supervisory bodies to see that this money is put to use, to ensure that these things are used for what they say they're going to use them for.
Okay, so that's powerful. So Kunle, let's look at what we just discussed here now. So I think that at the end of the day, it comes to productivity. So you can produce a product, all right? The same things that other people are producing, you produce them. But how competitive are you? So when we're talking about being competitive in today's world, today's global economy, we're really talking about your productivity. And we're talking about cost and efficiency. The people who produce at the least cost are the ones that can offer lower prices with good quality. And that's where people are going to go. So when you look at Africa today, take Nigeria, for example, where can we be easily competitive? Is it in agriculture? Where we have arable land, and where maybe we can process some things and export a taste of Africa to the world for them to see what we can produce and see and we believe they will like our taste. Or is it in the area of software? Our guys have demonstrated that they're pretty darn good with software production. We've got Andela and some of these guys doing really well. They even participated in New York. They're working with Twitter and Zuckerberg and these kinds of guys. They've shown competence. So it seems to me that we can use technology to really be successful with graphics, with videos, with editing, and those kinds of things. So we may not be able to produce the big time machines, but we can do software for them. So what do you think? I just wanted to see, so that people can see practically that we're not just talking, when we're talking human capital development and investing in people, we're saying that we really do have areas where our people can be competent and in fact very competitive in terms of productivity and efficiency. So how do you see that?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you with what you said. I think the first thing for us is let's understand our area of strengths and let's start from there. Now, you mentioned agriculture. Actually, we can actually start from agriculture because a lot needs to be done in that sector. In the recent report released by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, the third quarter GDP, it shows that agriculture now contributes 30% to GDP, but 30% to GDP, which means if we pick that and work on our processing the raw material instead of just exporting the raw material, it means we can actually get more from there. And with that, we can be competitive. So just like you said, the least cost, we take it. So we can actually move in that direction and start with that. Then secondly, talking about the software development, just like my colleague earlier said, in the banking sectors, Nigerian developers, they are really pulling weight around the world. So this is another area we need to also leverage on what has been on ground so that we can also be competitive in that aspect.